Hey, David McGuffin here. Welcome to Travel Talk Tuesday, November the 1st, 2022. We're kind of antsy about not being able to make this work out last week. And I think we've got everything back together streaming live on Facebook and also on YouTube. So thank you guys for joining in here tonight. Again, November 1st, 2022. We are here in Middlebury, Florida. It's almost like summer again. It was 85 or so degrees here and kind of crazy. But Leslie and I are getting ready to get on a plane tomorrow and go to Ireland, where we hear it's a little bit more chilly. So hence my Ireland shirt on here tonight. So we got a real quick trip that we'll make some recordings of and bring back to you on Travel Talk Tuesday. So tonight, we're not talking about Ireland. We're talking about a much warmer climate as well, and that's in southern Spain. So let me get this thing running, and I will talk to you a little bit along the way for what we're doing in southern Spain. So this is a map of my Best of Spain tour, and you can see the area down there at the bottom. This is Granada, Nerja, Arcos, Sevilla, and also Gibraltar. So I went to Gibraltar for the first time back in August of this year, and I had a great time visiting this place. Gibraltar is, as you can see, we know it as the Rock of Gibraltar, and it's right on the Strait of Gibraltar that's in between Europe and Africa. And Gibraltar is, although a part of the country of Spain, if you say physically connected to it, it's not really part of Spain. It's the United Kingdom owns it. Back in 1705, there was a big war, the War of Spanish Succession, and the UK defeated the Spaniards and they took it over, and there was a Treaty of Utrecht, and then later the Treaty of Versailles that gave the Brits full control of this little spit of land, peninsula of land, which is 3 miles long and 1 mile wide in perpetuity. And this is an etching that I saw, was the Battle of 1705, when the Brits were able to hold off the Spaniards down there in the harbor and secure the Rock of Gibraltar forever and ever. Let me let this run and I'll talk as we go through. Now, I'm in Spain. We're driving in and we're looking at the Rock of Gibraltar. But you can see it's really flat here. This is a parking area. I parked under there in that garage. And this is a walkway through Spain to the border between Spain and the United Kingdom, or the Rock of Gibraltar. Most everybody that lives and works here speaks both Spanish and English very well. So this is the Spanish main drag walking pedestrian street down to the border crossing. We had driven here from Nerja, which is about a 2.5-hour drive along the coastline, the Costa del Sol in Spain. It was pretty nice, a very good drive. We saw a lot of different agricultural places, beach resorts and everything. And then we came in here into this village right on the border of Spain and the United Kingdom. So it's long about maybe 1:30, 2 o'clock. So every one of these places are opening. By the time we returned and walked back, we were hoping to get a late lunch or something. They had all closed down. You see fish shops, charcuterie shops, bread shops, all of that stuff. So keeping with the European standards, along about 2:30, 3 o'clock, those places closing down. Here's a border crossing going out of Spain, this first little archway, and then into the second archway is into the United Kingdom. We can't show video here. They would not allow it. Hey, David McGuffin here. The Rock of Gibraltar right here behind me. I'm standing in Spain, going through customs here into the United Kingdom. Let's look around the Rock of Gibraltar. So we walked through customs barely. I mean, we had our passports, we had them out, showed them. They barely looked at it because there's probably 30 to 50,000 people a day that go through there. Many of them work on either side of the border. So we got in, and as soon as we got through the little customs area, we had done some research and decided we were going to take a taxi tour. And so for about €32 a person, we joined, there was 3 of us that were there, and one other person joined us. So 4 of us in a, like a Mercedes van, 9-passenger van. And we took off, and we took an hour and 45-minute tour of the Rock of Gibraltar. And there's a lot of different ways to tour the Rock of Gibraltar. You can walk in, take a funicular or a chairlift all the way up to the top for about 10 euro, or not euro, 10 pounds sterling there to do that, and then walk back down. Or you can take a round trip up there for about 13 pounds sterling to do that. But yet there's a lot of walking involved in that as well. There are also some tour bus companies who do the same taxi tour route that we did, but instead of just 4 of us in a Mercedes van, there's 20 to 40 people on a bus that does the same sort of route. The top of the rock is a nature preserve, which everyone, if you're going there and getting out of your vehicle, you have to pay an additional 5 pounds sterling. I'm sorry, an additional 10 pounds sterling to do that. So with this taxi tour for 32 pounds, all of that was included, as well as the admission to several of the caves, the grottos in St. Michael's Caves as well. So we thought that was the best value. And as it turned out, it was, because it was kind of a warm day. And there were a lot of people hiking up the roads that we were driving on, or hiking down the roads. And they look pretty miserable. So I'm glad we did the taxi tour. That's my recommendation. If you ever go there, do that taxi tour. This you see here, says the Pillars of Hercules. Now, the legend goes that, Hercules, the big strong guy who was able to hold the world up on his back, those 2 pillars that he was holding up are, one, the Rock of Gibraltar in Europe, and the other across the Strait of Gibraltar. There's another mountain on the other side in Morocco, in northern Africa there. And so those were known as the Pillars of Hercules. And it was also known as the end of the world up until the Middle Ages. Although way early on, there's evidence that the predecessors to the Greeks, the Phoenicians, sailed out of the Mediterranean Sea and north and south up the coast of what we now know as Spain and Portugal, and North Africa as well. But for all practical purposes, until the 1400s, that was the end of the world. Let me let that run. The Pillars of Hercules. There's a little map there that has that, in that gold medallion, that has the Gibraltar, how many miles or kilometers.
This is the Pillars of Hercules.
Different places.
The southern point right here in the Rock of Gibraltar. Looking across, right there is Africa, Morocco, near Tangiers. It's about 18 miles across, 35 minutes. The Atlantic Ocean is out here. The Mediterranean Sea is in this direction. So I'm looking pretty much due south here.
I laugh every time I see this tour bus. Bland tour. Doesn't sound like a very good tour company to go along with. This is in St. Michael's Caves. These are actual, the rock is limestone. So just like here in Florida and other parts of the United States, water has gotten into the rocks and eroded, and they're huge stalactites and stalagmites, and it's all illuminated with various colors and with classical music piped in. So I thought it was pretty amazing. It has the largest stalactite in the world. That's the one hanging from the ceiling. There's a little photo of Hercules, a little bit about him. And then they were able to illuminate different parts of the caverns to give you the images and ideas of Hercules holding up the pillars, or an angel of God coming down, and all of that as well. Keep in mind, this is all underground in that rock. It's about 1,400 feet above sea level. So about twice as high as the Cliffs of Moher in Ireland. It's a long way up there when you're at the top. This is still inside St. Michael's Cave in the theater. I suppose they had seats and everything in there, so they may do some sort of presentation as well. Now, as soon as we exit St. Michael's Caves, we encountered just above the exit, the first apes we saw, APES, monkeys that are about 200 or so of them inhabit the island of the Rock of Gibraltar. And here's looks like a mother and the child. And these apes are known as macaque apes. They're from Africa, and they were put here by the Brits way back in the day, in the 1700s. And like I say, there's about 200 of them there. And the legend goes that as long as the apes remain on the Rock of Gibraltar, so will the Brits. This was very close to the summit. And they had you see the summit there in the background. And then they have this platform, relatively new, a glass platform, so you can look straight down to the sea. I'm not too keen on that, but I did it anyway. Hey, David McGuffin on the top of the Rock of Gibraltar. Right here behind me is looking directly north to the continent of Europe, and turning back around beyond these two ladies here is Africa, looking directly to the south. East, looking into the Mediterranean Sea here behind me, and then looking to the west into the Atlantic Ocean. On the top of the Rock of Gibraltar. Your adventure starts right here with David McGuffin's Exploring Europe. So this is the road that the buses and the vans and everything goes down. It's pretty small, as you can see. It's very difficult for two vehicles to pass side by side. Now I have a montage of some of the apes, the macaque monkeys that are on there. They're known to be thieves. So if you're not paying attention, so for example, someone told me if you have a peanut, you're going to give this ape, you have one peanut in your hand, they'll not go for the one peanut in your hand. They'll sneak around and grab the whole bag out of your other hand that you're holding the peanuts. They're also known to take purses and passports and everything else. So anything, especially they recognize anything in plastic bags as maybe being food for them. So when you go, keep everything packed away. There's a huge port where this ape is sitting right behind him. So I'm kind of looking back to the northwest, and that's the whole port area there. And ships have to come in, they have to queue to go through the Straits of Gibraltar.
This is looking north across the
there's an airstrip there as well.
And the road
Easy
going
jet,
across
Ryanair
to the
flies
border,
there.
just down here. This is the Spanish city of Línea. Beyond that, down in this direction is the Costa del Sol. We've driven up there, up the coast for about 2 hours and 20 minutes or so from Nerja today. Beautiful beaches, sandy beaches down there, as you can see. And then panning back over to the west, this is the port, and the Atlantic Ocean is in this direction. Looking at two other cities in Spain over here, and then the one over here, Tariq, I think is the one over there that has a very short ferry crossing to northern Africa, to Morocco. It's 7 kilometers over there, so very 20-minute ride on a ferry. One day I will need to do that. Guns right down there. And down here, the Great Siege Tunnels are what we're going in now.
So there were also some man-made caves in the rocks as well. They were constructed and built and gunpowdered out in 1705, and then in the 1780s. And these were all those dating from that era, where the Brits were defending from both French and Spanish troops. It was also in World War II. Another 30 miles of tunnels was etched out inside the Rock of Gibraltar. There were provisions in there, cafeterias for all the troops, sleeping quarters, and everything else. Because as you can imagine, throughout the centuries and generations, that rock and that little Strait of Gibraltar has been very important to protection of North Africa and what we know as the Middle East, and also all of Europe as well, the coastline of Europe. So a very important place. So you can imagine that in World War II, it also was a very important and prominent place as well. And the Brits did a great job of securing that area and being prevalent there and defending it with many types of munitions and guns as well. Because you remember, we went back and crossed the border after about 2 hours. Same reverse process, except it was very, very small. We just held our passport and walked through, along with the other 50 or so people that were in a line and a queue to get through there. We were going to try to eat at that area where I showed you earlier, but there was nothing open. So the only thing available was a Burger King and McDonald's. I think I got that right. As you can see, a Burger King sign and a McDonald's sign, and the Rock of Gibraltar in the background. And we chose my least favorite of the two, McDonald's. Perhaps that's working. So I made gazpacho. It's basically tomato and cucumbers, onions, other spices as well. Olive oil, sherry vinegar. I use these Cento tomatoes from southern Italy. They're the best you can get. Got a lot of flavor to it. Put all those ingredients: onions, clove of garlic, cucumbers into a blender along with the tomato sauce. Blend it up. Add a little bit of cherry wine vinegar. Add a half a cup of olive oil at the end. These are sweet peppers from Italy. Most Italians take those and they put them in a frying pan, eat them just like we would eat bell peppers. This is the sherry wine vinegar, just to add a little element of sweet and tartness there. I put a half a cup of olive oil. It turns, you'll see, maybe the tomatoes will turn from a rich, ruby red to sort of a pinkish color. The olive oil is some really good stuff, and that's what we get at the end. I'm eating it right now. It's great. So I love that. I have that every night that I'm in Spain. That's a precursor to dinner for me. I'm back full screen here. So let me also tell you about two types of Spanish wine. We have this wine here is called a Rioja, which is red, and it's a Tempranillo wine. This is not very old. It's a 2002 or 2020. And another type of Spanish wine that I like, both of these I like very much, and they're my go-to wines from Spain. The other one is called a Crianza. It's also a Rioja wine, but it's Crianza. And it's a type of method of finishing, and it has to be aged a little bit longer in the barrel. And this is 2017. So two very good red wines from Spain. And in addition to the gazpacho that I'm preparing, we're also having in Spain, a lot of pork is available. And as a matter of fact, if you go further inland, roasted suckling pig is a big thing. So the whole little pig that's about 20 days old, they splay out and roast, and you just pick all the stuff. Well, we didn't have any suckling pigs here in Middleburg, Florida, so we're having a pork loin as well. So pork loin tonight. We're having that wine that I just showed you. We're having potatoes, which is a staple of every meal, whether it be French fried or roasted or whatever else, and a little zucchini as well that we're having. So that's our meal tonight. Let me move on and tell you a little bit about Arcos de la Frontera. So Arcos is inland about an hour from the coast. You can see there. And it's my favorite little hill town in the area. You know, you hear me talk about Italian hill towns or Greek hill towns, Spanish hill towns too. There's something about them that attracts me. I first went to one probably back not quite 20 years ago, and had a great time going to Arcos. Was driving and got lost in the old town and got stuck with my car in a small road. But you can see why this is such a beautiful place with great vistas all across the valley, the vineyards, the olives, and everything else there as well. This is St. Mary's Church, the main square there in town as well. And although it used to be a square in the Middle Ages, now it's the only parking lot in this part of the old town. And this is St. Michael's Church. It's also, and they're competing churches. And it's maybe a half a mile apart. But St. Mary's Church, the first one I showed you, is the parish church, the basilica, the cathedral, and St. Michael's Church is the wannabe. Although St. Michael's is older and larger, believe it or not. We were here at getting near sunset. You can see this illumination.
Here. We have made it up in the region of Andalusia, and this is away from the seaside, and we're at a hill town called Arcos de la Frontera. And there's not a whole lot to do here. This beautiful church behind me is built in the 1700s, 1600s, and 1700s, and it is known as St. Peter's Church. We're standing here at the Parador, on the patio of the Parador. The sun's going to set back here in about 30 minutes, but you can see behind me the little white houses that are illuminated, probably with some of the pink patina of the sunset going on, and St. Peter's Church in the background. So I hope you enjoy this little look around Arcos de la Frontera. Your adventure starts here with David McGuffin's Exploring Europe.
Not St. Michael's Church, St. Peter's Church. Boy, that is beautiful. You have to be there to really appreciate it, I think. But that sun, golden glow on there is wonderful. Back at the main square again. There's not a lot of people there and not a lot of places to stay there either. We had dinner at this little restaurant here, and I think I showed you earlier, had some lamb chops, which are pretty skinny lamb chops. And so my friends had some chicken skewers and stuff. But this is a stroll at the evening after dinner around town as well. My friend Jim and Valerie at breakfast at our hotel. And this is our hotel we stayed at, Hotel Convento. It's an old convent, part of the church of St. Peter's.
10 o'clock bells. We are here in Arcos de la Frontera. September 1st, 2022. The cats are looking at us down the road.
I'm showing you this, how small this road is. Even this little kindergarten car is having difficulty getting through. My friend Jim going up to see if this church is open. He walked all the way up there and the doors were locked. St. Peter's Church. Another view down the small little lanes out to the countryside.
Hello everyone and welcome to Nerja, Spain. We've arrived on the Mediterranean coast, down on the very south part of Spain, and this is a place to really have no adventure at all. It's a vacation basically, just a night to spend, an afternoon to spend here, basking in the sun, eating some fine seafood, and experiencing the locale because this is a tourist destination town. So I hope you like this look around Nerja, Spain.
This is looking down the Costa del Sol. You can see nice sandy beaches, mountains falling into the seaside, old 1700s cannons there. And this is called the Balcony of Europe. This is live music. A gentleman was playing this as we were walking around, looking around. They dug those cannons out of the water. They'd been there for about 200 years. That's why it almost looks like a piece of fossilized wood. This is one of the hotels that we stayed here in Nerja. Balcony of Europe is just behind me to the left as I'm filming here. This is the main cathedral of the church in town. Every time I've been to Nerja, this guy's out here making these big bubbles for the past 20 years going. Maybe it now is. I'm not sure it is. Everybody here speaks English. A lot of Brits come here in vacation, so you're more likely to hear English or the King's English or the Queen's English, whatever we are going to say nowadays. I don't know. The English from Britain as opposed to here. This is the shopping streets and a street that's loaded with different little restaurants and everything else. You can get anything from seafood to this little fantastic meal. Look at that bacon up there on top of that. Filet steak. That was a great meal we had there. And this is in the evening. That street's pretty small, you can see, but there are a lot of places where we can go and have dinner here as well. On our best of Spain tour, we spent one night here in Nerja. It's just kind of like a down day at the beach and an evening. We have no plans. We have no group dinner or anything there. everybody on our tours can do whatever you want to in Nerja. But if you want to go swimming, go to the seaside.
Well, the night's winding down here in Europe, heading out of Spain. The Mediterranean Sea is just here behind me, down the promenade. And the square's kind of cleared out with all the kids. And everybody's finished up their dinner, heading back, maybe getting ready for another day tomorrow, basking in the sun. You know, Nerja is a great place to visit for a day because just a nice change from all the Spanish food and all working with the Spanish language. But it's really a big tourist beach destination. Tomorrow, we're going to Arcos de la Frontera, right in the heart of Andalusia. So I hope you enjoyed that too. But for tonight, your adventure starts right here with David McGuffin's Exploring Europe.
I'll let that run and play out as we finish up Travel Talk Tuesday for tonight. Days, but we'll catch you in 2 weeks with Travel Talk Tuesday. Your adventure starts here with David McGuffin's Exploring Europe.